Welcome to Space News from the Electric Universe, brought to you by the Thunderbolts project at thunderbolts.info. NASA's New Horizons mission to the dwarf planet Pluto is attracting international attention to planetary science. And like all recent missions to planets, moons, comets, and asteroids, surprising discoveries already abound for scientists on Earth. Giant mountains on the Plutonian surface, and enormous deep chasms on the moon Charon. A surprising absence of so-called impact craters on Pluto, and the rich Plutonian atmosphere have all left investigators searching for answers. New Horizons principal investigator Alan Stern says of the mission's early findings, Pluto is dramatically more complicated than we might have anticipated. Today, Thornhill begins a series of reports on the New Horizons mission. We begin by taking a step back to examine the most fundamental concepts about our solar system's origins and the formation of planets and stars.
Pluto has been demoted to a minor planet, a member of the so-called Kuiper belt beyond Neptune. Wikipedia says, like the asteroid belt, the Kuiper belt consists mainly of small bodies or remnants from the solar system's formation. Although many asteroids are composed primarily of rock and metal, most Kuiper belt objects are composed largely of frozen volatiles, termed ices, such as methane, ammonia, and water. Now, the notion that the Sun and all of the planets in the solar system formed in the same event is a story more than 250 years old. So deep-rooted has it become that despite all of the evidence against it, including the fact that our system does not explain the more than 2,000 recently discovered planetary systems about nearby stars, that simplistic story is clung to because it makes us feel safe. It is not a fact that the Kuiper belt is a remnant from the solar system formation, and it is not a fact that they are composed largely of frozen volatiles. Despite this, we are told once more that Pluto and Charon will help us understand how the Earth was formed. This has been the principal justification for practically every planetary mission, and again it will fail, because modern cosmology and the story of the solar system is a comforting fiction that seems to require extraordinary disproof to be free of it. Cosmology fills a human need for certainty where our map ends and dragons lie beyond. So science speaks with fake authority about things it does not understand. Geologists rely on the astronomers' story for their undisturbed version of Earth history and their dating system. Yet a peaceful Earth is the most unlikely assumption when the Earth's features and tortured strata are looked at objectively. It is a wish rather than a fact. In turn, astronomers use the geologists' flawed dating system to determine the age of the Sun and planets. It's known as a deadly embrace. The inflation of the age of the Sun and Earth from a few million years to the present mind-numbing 4.5 billion years is a fascinating tale on its own. In her poem, Speed of Darkness, which could have referred to the expansion of darkness in Big Bang cosmology, Muriel Rukeyser wrote, "The universe is made of stories, not of atoms." Sadly, it remains true of cosmology in the 21st century. It is true of all creation myths, because man obviously could not have witnessed creation. The electric universe is the first cosmology to escape from this fixation on man-made myths, because it began by studying global creation stories forensically and understanding for the first time why they have such a grip on us, why they were so significant to our prehistoric ancestors that they were memorized and transmitted near word perfectly for millennia, why they chiseled the same weird figures into rock the world over. All of the creation myths refer to events in the heavens that are beyond any modern or historical first-hand experience, except that of comets. And comets are strangely associated with instinctive apocalyptic fears of doomsday. The chaos of doomsday is the key to Earth's and the solar system's real history. Comets are bodies sweeping between the planets in the solar system. They seem a threat to the Newtonian clockwork order. As the philosopher David Stove wrote, Newtonian physics is a guarantee against the occurrence of just about anything disagreeable. So we have an 18th century story of the formation of the solar system from an isolated revolving disk of dust and gas that doesn't work theoretically and is entirely non-predictive. But it is safe. So the story endures repeated falsification. Every planet, moon, asteroid and comet visited by space probes has surprised scientists. But it seems there is nothing more powerful than creation stories that calm our unexpressed fear of chaos in the solar system. To make sense of Pluto and its satellites, we must know how our solar system was really formed. We now have evidence from infrared space telescopes that verifies star formation along thin cosmic thunderbolts in molecular clouds. The concentration of the heaviest elements along the axis of the discharge ensures that planets and smaller bodies are formed separately from the same materials and at the same time as the stars. As the thunderbolt fades, adjacent bodies are drawn together gravitationally to form planetary and multiple star systems. Gravitational capture is greatly enhanced when the electrical nature of gravity is finally understood, and orbital stability is achieved by electrical exchanges, either gradually through cometary discharge or rapidly by exchanging interplanetary thunderbolts. All of the weird exoplanetary systems can be simply understood in this way. With such a scenario, we can understand our solar system with its distant giant planets as a blended family. Each member has its unique story of birth and electrical encounters with other bodies. Each history is written in the hemispheric electrical scars, circular craters, and layers of material dumped on their surfaces. So we can understand the stories our prehistoric ancestors were desperate to have preserved down the ages. Forget the soporific 4.5 billion year bedtime story. The solar system has captured bodies in the memory of mankind. And with this dramatic new picture in mind, we have the means to really understand Pluto and its satellites.
For continuous updates on space news from the electric universe, stay tuned to thunderbolts.info.